What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Join Dota League Season 3. Unfortunately, this is not going to be the second game between Mythtrust and Mineski. We are instead going to have a little bit of a switch over to the European region, where we're going to be watching nLions versus XPC. The game got postponed, and there's ultimately nothing we could do about that, but hope you guys want to stick around for this one. This is going to be from the ticket, so going to be a little bit delayed, but that is all well and good. As we have ourselves a draft, I am Mike Loris, and I am joined by Grandis V.
Yeah, so that is going to be the case. We might be able to just restart the stream without delay, and that could be something, since we're already pretty late into the draft anyway. But yeah, should be no problem. It is unfortunate that we didn't get to see Myth versus Mineski, as that was a really awesome Game 1, and I'd love to watch the Game 2 of it.
So if I just set the stream delay to 0 on Twitch, will it automatically update, or do I have to restart the entire stream?
Try moving it, and if that doesn't work, then we're just delayed. It's fine.
Alright, I moved it. And it says updated, but I don't know if that actually means updated. Regardless, we're going to be watching this game anyway. The worst case scenario is that they end it and then they jump straight into the next game, and then we're 2 minutes delayed, but that should be fine regardless, because we do have ourselves a draft right now. Looks like nothing too weird going on. Doom is going to get let through the pool, and XPC going to take the Death Prophet as well as the Skywrath Mage as their first two picks. Pretty strong heroes to open up with.
Yeah. I don't know, the Shadow Shaman is still available, as well as the Brewmaster. So Brewmaster going to be picked up for nLions. Decide picking it up into two silences coming up for the Skywrath Mage as well as the Death Prophet. It's still a pretty strong pick, although more than not, he's going to have to jump in and just straight up split, not be able to get the clap off, and then build into a BKB later. But it still definitely can work out for them, especially if they get a Doom onto one of those targets, especially the Death Prophet before Exorcism.
Yeah, if they do get a Death Prophet before Exorcism, that'll be a huge win for nLions. That'll be a win almost to the point where they're almost 100% going to win that fight, just because the ultimate for Death Prophet is most of the time the largest source of damage for any given team, and if you could deny that, then you'll be able to ignore her or focus her down. Really do whatever you want. And yeah, the Skywrath Mage is going to have a nice silence going the way of nLions, but Doom is just a little bit better than the Ancient Seal, at least most of the time it is. XPC, they don't really have any great setup for the Skywrath Mage just yet, so they're probably going to look to pick that up in their supports. Really, the three other big supports that are still in the pool, Shaman, Shaker, as well as Wraith King, all going to be synergizing very well with the Skywrath Mage. Probably the Shaman, because it will give them a little bit more push.
Yeah. Yeah, I am trying to interact in chat and get everybody on the same page as far as the previous series. But yeah, just waiting on the next couple of bans. This is looking very standard, with the exception of the Jakiro ban coming out from nLions. Although unconventional, it definitely could put a lot of pressure on their towers if they got their hands on something along the lines of like the Shadow Shaman as well as the Jakiro that they'd run as a core. I don't know, not sure.
Yeah, nLions just trying to stem the flow of pushing that's going to be coming out from XPC. So Jakiro, one of the most pushing-oriented supports up there with the Shadow Shaman, and I would be very surprised if they ban out the Jakiro but choose not to ban out the Shadow Shaman, because XPC can very easily grab that, and then it'll be Skywrath Shaman. We've seen that a million times before. And then also being able to deploy Serpent Wards and the Exorcism on towers. nLions, they're going to be very, very hard-pressed in order to make a defense of that, because if you jump into that, you're going to be eaten alive by physical damage, and Doom doesn't like physical damage, at least not early on.
Yeah, before he gets up that Assault Cuirass or Shiva's card, which he should be building into, especially up against a Death Prophet, that extra 5 armor for his team, as well as the 15 for himself, will be very useful.
nLions are going to take their time. They're actually going to choose to ban out the Viper. I would say that this is a pretty clear Shadow Shaman pick for XPC, though they could just be completely happy with having the Death Prophet. Like, though she does offer you some push, she does let you run a quote-unquote pushing strategy, it doesn't always have to be that case. You could just have her by herself and then run a very standard set of heroes after that and just have a little bit of push, and that's fine.
Yeah, it really is. Even if you just have the casual Death Prophet, if you can secure yourself teamfight wins with the rest of your picks and transition the towers to the Death Prophet, it works just as well for you, if not even a little bit better in certain cases. XPC, they ban out the Earthshaker, and as you said, I am expecting the Shadow Shaman, although yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a Shadow Shaman pick. I'm not sure there's any other supports that XPC would prioritize over him.
I think XPC would have also been happy with picking up a Rubik if they didn't ban it out themselves. Against Doom and Brewmaster, it'll be a pretty nice hero to have, though, with Skywrath Mage and lots of burst, but instead they're going to go for Tidehunter. So this might be what I was just talking about, going for just the touch in the pushing pool, and then going to get just focusing on the team fight. Though Tidehunter versus Brewmaster and versus Doom, it's not the best case for Tidehunter. If you get the Ravage before the Doom lands or before the split, then that could be fantastic, but if the Doom has already been used on the Tidehunter, then you're screwed, and if the Brewmaster is split, then you can't really do much about that. So it's a little bit of power in the laning stage, but the team fight is going to be a little bit difficult for XPC to put together.
Yeah. It all depends on how the Doom initiation goes down, and if Northern Lions get up to an early start, get yourself like a Mechanism, Arcane Boots, and Blink on your Doom early, I definitely think that their mid-game teamfight's going to be something to be feared by XPC. I still don't think that Shadow Shaman's a bad pick by them. Even if you're not going to commit fully into the pushing strat, I think just as a standalone support, the single target lockdown that it gives you, as well as the zoning potential with Arcane Bolt as well as Ether Shock, is just a little too good to pass up. And since it's going to be a Mirana pick for Northern Lions, I'm going to guess that it's still going to be a Shadow Shaman. Yeah, as far as other supports that they could pick up, there's not very much still left in the pool. They might pick up a Shadow Demon, but no, it's going to be something completely different. Just invest completely into the teamfight Enigma. The pick for XPC, I think this is pretty much a no-brainer Shadow Demon for Northern Lions, as the setup for Mirana as well as up against a Skywrath Mage. It'll just be really solid.
Yeah, so XPC, they're going to pick up one of the few teamfight ultimates to deal with that Brewmaster, but they are just going to be happy with the Death Prophet for sure. I mean, with the Enigma, they do get a little bit of pushing, but Northern Lions instead going to go for a Vengeful Spirit. Is a decent hero, more slanted towards countering the Enigma than the Skywrath Mage, so I think both of them would have been fine. You get a nice setup with the Magic Missile into an arrow, plus come later into the game, the swap will always be available to cancel a Black Hole, assuming the Vengeful Spirit isn't caught in the Black Hole. Even if the Enigma has BKB, it won't help you versus a swap, won't help you versus a Doom. So XPC, they're going to try to get their Wombo combo together. They need another support hero, and well, as far as Wombo combo support, Sand King comes to mind. Earthshaker would have been great, Jakira would have been great for them, but Sand King and then play this game passively, I think, would probably be what XPC are going to look to do.
Definitely could be an option, but I think this is more or less just going to be their safe lane carry as their last pick. I'm assuming this is a support Skywrath Mage.
Alright, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the Enigma just go into the jungle either. I was assuming the Enigma would be laning for whatever reason, and then you'd be very capable if you do get a little bit better setup with a Skywrath Mage, because as far as Enigma is in a Skywrath Mage as the two supports, it's kind of weak. I would much rather like to see another stun and then have the Enigma play a more core role if they want to do that, but it's a little bit of flexibility for XPC, I guess.
I'm not sure where they'd throw the Enigma. Solo safe lane, he'd probably function very well unless Northern Lions go aggressive. In that case, 1v1 versus the Doom, he'd do pretty well as a Centaur. It's the last pick for XPC. That's actually very interesting. I have no idea how these lanes are going to work out, as the Tidehunter and Centaur Warren are pretty much interchangeable wherever they could go, and Death Prophet's more than likely going to be going towards the mid position, although Tidehunter versus Brewmaster is not the worst matchup for Tide, and they might look to have that matchup if Northern Lions don't pick up something else to go mid.
Tide is a little bit more resilient as far as the ganks are concerned as well, so that is a little bit of flexibility that XPC do have. I wouldn't mind seeing the Tidehunter being sent towards the mid lane, since Northern Lions, well, they finally pick up the Shadow Shaman. It's like about time, guys. But Tidehunter Brewmaster is a pretty easily won lane by the Tidehunter, and he'll get levels up a lot easier. And then you could always have, Centaur, Warrunner, Skywrath in a dual lane even, with the Enigma jungling, but just a lot of possibilities for the XPC side, and when you have a lot of possibilities, that keeps everyone guessing. And if you keep your enemies guessing, then that's a very early win, although a very slight one.
Yeah. I don't know, and into the game we go. It's going to be interesting to see how these lanes actually pan out for both teams, but it looks like... Okay. Yeah. We're not going to start out with a pause, and that'll give us time to introduce the teams. On the Radiant side, we are going to have Northern Lions, with Applet playing on the Vengeful Spirit. We'll be supporting the Mirana of Ingman, and the other support will be the Shadow Shaman. He's currently walking towards top, probably just going to drop a ward and then go back down towards bottom, played by Satan. The offlaner is going to be a Doom, handled by, Inshallah. Oh my goodness, I have no idea if I said that correctly. And the mid hero is going to be Phantom XP on the Brewmaster.
It looks close enough for that Doom, but on the XPC side, we got Madara playing the Tidehunter down on the bottom lane. Mid lane, it is going to be Relax on the Death Prophet, and it will be a tri-lane up on top, or a 2.5 lane, with the Enigma jungling. It's going to be played by Spartan. On the Centaur Warrunner, we got Keeser, Oh man, I don't know. Just Keister, that's good enough. And Skanks is going to be on the Scarith Mage. These names, man, these names.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd need like some lessons from the players, and honestly, probably should have asked in the lobby. But either way, into the game we go. It is just going to be a straight up off lane Tidehunter. They'll start things off by denying one creep from his lane. So Spartan is going to snag one of the melee creeps here, and then send those towards the jungle as he picks himself up some more mana back in the fountain. Yeah, so good start for this Tidehunter. I'm going to expect him to do pretty well up against this lane, although if he is caught out by the Vengeful Spirits, then the follow-up Shackles and Arrow definitely could kill him.
Yeah, the Tidehunter is definitely a lot more vulnerable in this lane than the Doom up on top, at least until the Enigma gets a nice Eidolon army, but I don't think this Enigma is going to be looking to make very early rotations on this Doom. The physical damage from the Eidolons can be useful in bringing down this hero, but mostly it's just going to be the Scarith Mage dumping all of his mana constantly on the Doom, and we're trying to get some value there, though we will be going up against Scorched Earth, and now the Unholy Aura being eaten by the Doom means that any harassment going towards the Doom is unlikely to stick for very long. The Scarith Mage doesn't even need to be here, honestly. The Centaur can handle this lane 1v1 very easily, but just getting a little bit more security for the Centaur usually isn't that worth it, since Centaur does fine and doesn't really need a lot to get going. But hell, if you get a fast Blink Dagger with Tranquil Boots, you could very easily make rotations around the map very early on.
Yeah, that said, I'm not sure what the Skywrath would be doing if he wasn't sitting in this lane. Maybe throwing some Arcane Bolts towards the Brewmaster could be helpful. But yeah, it's just a very awkward laning stage for the Scarith Mage. She might be able to find some stacks that either the Tidehunter could farm up, potentially the Enigma. Yeah, it's not the easiest game to be playing a Scarith Mage as far as knowing what to do. He doesn't have a really good roaming support that could go with him with the Concussive Shot, and I think just sitting in the lane is fine. Although, it's not great. I'm not sure there's anything better he could be doing.
Yeah, it's just going to be Scarith Mage who's going to make minimal rotations. So Spartan doesn't have a smoke or anything like that, so this Enigma is most likely in the jungle for the long haul, and that's, you know, the way I usually like to see Enigmas being played. Get the fast mech up for your team, alleviate some of that item pressure from the rest of your allies, and just proceed as like that. But if the top lane is just this passive, Doom's going to have a very easy time, and this is at the expense of the Tidehunter, who's level 2 and really can't afford to get close to this lane at all. If he gets hit with a single disable, then he's pretty much screwed, because one disable will quickly turn into 3. And Centaur, though he does have boots and, well, now a haste rune, so he'll be able to play a couple of games with the enemy tri-lane, he's going to be struggling on this bottom lane, whereas Doom is always going to get his farm, and now with level 2 Scorched Earth, he could even realistically go aggressive onto the Skywrath Mage if he really wanted to.
Tidehunter tries to pull the creep aggro, although it is dragged over to the neutral creep over there by the Vengeful Spirit. He finds himself one range creep, that's about it. And yeah, Madeira really can't get much out of this lane, and I don't know, not going to be caught out. The haste rune is going to keep him more or less invulnerable. I don't know, even if they throw out the magic missile, he'd be able to get himself pretty far away, and with the Mirana sitting in lane, I don't think he'd get caught out.
I took a quick look at the Tidehunter's profile picture, so it's actually Madara. It's like actually a character, but
I see.
That's enough of that. I don't want to get too deep into that, because I'm pretty sure I might just mispronounce that anyway, being Japanese and all that. But so screw that. We're going to call him whatever we want, and well, laning phase, pretty passive, as to be expected from the XPC side when they pick up an Enigma, and they have just Scarith Mage babysitting, and nLions haven't really gotten the chance to go aggressive on the Tidehunter just yet. They're looking for it, so they are definitely trying to be aggressive for the Tide, but Tide's playing this very smart, very safe, and is playing very far back. He doesn't have any Ancient stacks going, though, so it is blocked off by the Radiant. Tide is not going to have a great contingency plan, because the Enigma is full-on jungling.
Yeah. I don't know, this Tidehunter, it's going to be a slow game for him, but as long as he doesn't die, he'll be fine. And eventually he will have that Ancient stack unless the supports really decide to hate on him. And block it again. It is only a Sentry Ward, so only going to stop the first 4 minutes of actual creeps being spawned. The mid lane is more or less just spam coming out from the Death Prophet as well as the Brewmaster. And, well, the last hits are fairly even, 16-6 compared to 15-3. No big disparity being opened up. And actually, the Brewmaster is going to be even up, as Relax is going to pick up one more.
Phantom's dropping pretty low in the mid lane, and well, Death Prophet might actually look to go for this one. More right click and a Crypt Swarm can kill off the Brew. The right click, did that miss? So the Crypt Swarm definitely missed, and Madara, unfortunately, with no Gush, only level 2 Tide, even though he does have a double damage rune, can do next to nothing versus the Brewmaster. So Brewmaster is going to survive for now, and ultimately is doing pretty well in this lane, all things considered. Usually Brewmaster struggles a little bit more, but he's managing his health and mana pretty well, and he's getting a lot of CS, so the nLions side got to be happy with how these laning phases are going right now, because Ingman on the bottom lane is having the time of his life. Top lane, Doom's under a little bit of pressure, but he's getting his levels up, and they're shutting down the Tide as well as, you know, holding even on the mid lane. So, all things considered, nLions should be happy moving forward. And XPC, well, their Enigma is farming the jungle, so he's going to be getting quite a bit of income, but I don't know if it's worth having these lanes go so passively.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it is either, but I think they're still not going to be too sad about it. And yeah, actually XPC are pulling ahead as far as gold is concerned, about 1,000 lead, mostly due to Spartan's farm inside the jungle, which is going very fast for him. A dire Enigma that has none of his camps blocked is going to be one of the fastest farming heroes in the game. And that is going to remain the case. He'll have a very fast mechanism, and actually is going to send himself out the completed buckler, and I think those are his boots as well.
nLions going to find the Tide Hunter, but they're doing literally no damage because of that Anchor Smash and that level 2 Kraken Shell. He's even going to turn this one around for another Anchor Smash, and he does have backup coming in the form of Death Prophet. Unfortunately, these supports are going to have to run the gauntlet of this tower. They will both survive, but they took a lot more damage than they really would have liked. So ultimately, they don't get the kill on the Tide Hunter, they don't get the successful gank off, but crucially, they do smoke up to block this Ancients once again, which is going to be a pretty large annoyance for this Tide Hunter. He has no intentions of dewarding that, so it's going to be no Ancients for a very long time, or just one stack of Ancients, rather.
Yeah. And, well, the Tier 1 tower also going to take a pretty significant chunk of damage as the 3 range creeps were not pulled off as far as aggro is concerned from the Tier 1 tower. And they'll drop that down to about half, and the Tide Hunter with no points in Gush can't effectively pull off the creep aggro without risking his life. And I think they're just going to take it. They are, in fact, rotating the Enigma as well as the Death Prophet. With level 6 on your Enigma, level 7, in fact, the Centaur as well as the Haster. He's looking for the Black Hole. He should be able to find this onto 3, or no. Vengeful Spirit gets a Magic Missile onto him. The Exorcism popped. He's going to get hexed up as well. He's just not going to throw it in the first one. It's actually going to be on the Vengeful Spirit. As the Death Prophet, they drew to drop the Black Hole on Ingman as well as the Brewmaster here that jumps in with his split. They have enough damage with Relax getting the double kill with the Exorcism. She's thrown up in the air, but more than anything, that's actually helping her. They're not going to purge her back down. And now the Brewmaster, he comes back to himself. They're going to throw up the Death Prophet one more time, but still Exorcism doing some damage to the creep wave. Not the most impressive with only 2 points up into the Witchcraft, but still a win for XPC despite having to commit the Black Hole as well as Exorcism.
Having haste on the Enigma and Stampede just means that he's going to be running at 522 movement speed for a very long time, and though he didn't get the black hole that he dreamed of, but he did get the black hole anyway and did result in the kill. Now Eplet going to be converged upon by a whole mess of heroes. You went into the wrong neighborhood there. It's going to give Relax the 3rd kill on his trip away from the mid lane, and up on top, they're going to get doomed up. Centaur Warrunner probably going to die from this one, but Skanks should be able to deny this if he doesn't mess up. Here we go.
Don't mess up.
Got him.
Yeah. Centaur, he had his Blink Dagger before he died as well, so despite netting them a little bit of lost time for the Centaur, I think that's completely fine. Yeah. First usage of Doom, more or less going to net you a kill, especially in the position that they were diving in. So that's the best situation. It's down to bottom. They use the Shackles on to Majra, and the arrow follow-up, leap forward with the double Starfall and Ether Shock. Enough damage. Enigma is inbound, but he's not going to be able to do much, and actually takes a lot of damage. He pops the Soul Ring in order to get the Malefice off. That might just secure his kill. With the Ether Shock at will, the Centaur jumps in to get the kill onto the Mirana in return, and now with the Centaur Ultimate, they'll be able to get Satan as well with the double edge. Phantom XP is inbound with the Earth Clap. They won't be able to jump onto Kiilstofte, however. They do not have the Magic Missile close enough. Ooh, a very awkward exchange down in bottom. I think that favors XPC. Only a 1-for-2 trade.
Yeah, I mean, they lost the Enigma and the Tide Hunter, but they're getting kills on the Mirana, who's so far been having absolute free farm. K's are in a little bit of trouble, though. There's the Clap, Magic Missile to follow. It's a very low-level Magic Missile. In fact, it's only level 1. Hoof Stomp and Retaliation, and Centaur does have a Salve, so he'll be just fine, as Madra does come right back in with the Gush. Tide Hunter can't really do much aside from that. But they are rotating in Relax from the mid lane, and he gets a good Exorcism off. This could be devastating for XPC. They do not see this one coming. They don't have any observers over the rune, nor do they have any sentries in this area. So Relax has a pretty big opportunity here, assuming he gets initiation from his team. The Centaur with the Tranquils did drink the salve, and is now going to jump forward for another stomp. However, he will completely miss. Relax going to throw the Exorcism, and Eplet's going to get demolished by those spirits. The question is, can they get anyone else? Even if they can't, I think it's just going to use the rest of this Exorcism to kill the tower, or bring it down as much as they can, or just go into Roshan, because Spartan is there with a couple of Eidolons that are maxed out, so it could be a very easy Roshan for XPC or a tower. Really depends on what they want to do.
I'm not sure they could actually push in the tower, and Exorcism is going to wear off before they see either of those map objectives. Death Prophet still only level 8, not going to have the Exorcism that's actually very scary, but they might be able to take Roche. Scarlet Mage ulti inside the river with the silence on Ingman. One more Arcane Bolt's going to follow him. It's not going to be enough damage, but he won't disjoint that. He'll definitely be forced back to base, but with no follow-up, he'll be fine. They are zoning them out outside of the Roshan pit, and with the Tidehunter Ravage online, as well as a Black Hole coming off of cooldown in a couple of seconds, I don't think there's really much of a chance for Northern Lions to contest this, and it'll be taken despite not being the fastest Roche.
Yeah, the Brewmaster unfortunately doesn't have a blink just yet, and even if he did, going to this many heroes with this many Eidolons can realistically kill off the Brewmaster when he is in the split form, if a Black Hole is committed. But they take the Roshan, instantly they smoke up, look towards the bottom lane. They're probably not going to find anyone, but if they wanted to, they could just straight push this, because again, they have an Enigma with maxed out Eidolons, and he does have that Buckler as well, so they're going to be fairly tanky. nLions, they're going to try to make a trade happen up on top, it seems, where Shadow Shaman does have his Serpent Wards, and he could bring down this tier 1 tower, but it's going to be a trade for XPC, and since that happens, they get the Roshan advantage, so they should be okay with these sequence of events.
Yeah, I definitely think they will, and Death Prophet, she's getting closer to that level 11. She'll hit level 9 very shortly. And yeah, Serpent Ward's not committed to the top tower, wasn't necessary with 2 range creeps as well as a catapult. They'll have enough to take this as long as nobody shows their face, and they won't. Just a straight up trade. Centaur is inbound, but he doesn't have any backup. I don't think he can go for that. Now with the Blink Dagger online for Northern Lions as well, they have the tools that they need to fight, so despite having the Aegis, it's still going to be a pretty solid trade for both teams.
It looks like they're just going to keep going. Centaur is going to wish that he didn't teleport up here, because he can't do anything to stop this, even if he wanted to. In the meantime, bottom lane, Spartan's going to make a couple more Eidolons, and, well, they actually do have an Exorcism available. I think Eidolons and Exorcism pushes faster than Serpent Wards, so nLions, they're going to try to take a 2-for-2 trade. They're definitely going to lose 2 towers. The question is, will they gain 2 towers? Satan, I think now you got to drop the Serpent Wards. Yes, he does, up on top. But they're going to lose bottom lane first, and now the TP's back. Everyone's going to come back. Serpent Ward's going to get some pretty good physical damage with the Stomp now. Onto the Doom, going to bring him pretty low. Stampede as well. He's still alive, and now is the Ravage with the Mystic Flare. That's going to be the end of the Doom. No ultimate for him. Split from the Brewmaster will come out as XPC get nuked down by the AoE. Everyone's fighting in the Midnight Pulse as well. Relax does get doomed in the end. I don't know how he managed to get that one out, but a nice 2-man style with a double edge as well. Going to connect onto 2. Ingman's going to be chased down by a couple birds, and he will survive, albeit barely. Brewmaster in a split is going to return to his main form, but that is going to be almost the end of it. No, Ingman still being chased down. Throws an arrow onto Relax, but ultimately XPC, they take the tower, and though the fight isn't the cleanest for them, they do take a pretty nice fight as well.
4-for-2 plus Aegis, I think, was, after all was said and done, the trade plus the 2 tower in bottom and defending their own. XPC are going to be very happy with that. 5-10 our kill score. And, well, they're just getting more out of this map as far as their individual heroes. They're farming better, as well as just having the items that are going to have the bigger impact. They now have a Yules on their Death Prophet, and yeah, although Doom is going to completely cancel that, if she does get the Exorcism down and then Yules herself up in the air, that damage is going to be very significant. And I believe we still have the Black Hole. It wasn't necessary. And in mid, Phantom XP is caught out with the Death Prophet there. She will get her Crypt Swarms canceled, and Phantom XP doesn't have his ultimate available. Now nice double hoof stomp, as well as the double edge comes out from Kiilstofte there to give himself the double kill. This is going to be a tier 1 tower going the way of XPC as well. They're just fighting a lot better than Northern Lions.
And the timings, the way they line up, is that Death Prophet's going to have her ultimate in just 7 seconds. So this is not only going to be a tier 1, but it's also going to be a tier 2 after those couple of kills. I thought for sure the Enigma would have committed the Black Hole in order to kill off that Brewmaster, but he still has that in case things get too hairy. Just jump forward for a stomp onto Ingman. Just going to bring him down a little bit, but Relax, just chilling with those spirits, is going to, you know, go back up to full HP once these spirits all return to her. And they're just doing a nice bit of chip damage as the mech is popped. A couple more Eidolons to be deployed in nLions. They don't have a split, though they do have a Doom. They could fight off of a good arrow, but the arrow for now is going to miss. Doom off to the sidelines, wants to get Doom onto the Enigma, and he will land it successfully. Now the Stampede, though, and Doom is way out of position from the rest of his team. Skanks off to the side, going to drop a lot of damage onto Ingman as well as Satan, and it's kind of just split up the fight just a little bit. Scarlet Mage doing a huge play back in that left side of the fight, as the rest of XPC, they're going to retreat. Arrow will fly, will miss onto everyone, but there's the clap from Phantom. Black Hole available from Spartan. Where is it? Doesn't want to cast it just yet, instead gets Force Staffed out. Now Hex onto Badra, but he's still fine. He's waiting for his Ravage to cool down. Relax, still in the back end, doesn't have any exorcism, but Ingman stuck on the high ground, getting hit with the Ravage, and now they're split though. They will bring down Ingman in the end as he is silenced, and that's about it though. Madara getting focused down by the Brewmaster with the Anchor Smash and Cracked Shell. He's taking relatively little amounts of damage. He will get stunned up, he probably will go down, but just so tanky in the meantime. Kiilstofte's gonna jump forward for another two-hand hoof stomp with a double edge follow-up and a Mystic Flare. Four are down for nLions, and Phantom is the only one to limp away from that XPC. They bide their time so freaking patient, outrageously patient from them. They didn't even use a black hole, even though they could have caught and walled off one. It would have caught one hero and walled off the rest. They hold on to everything, and now they're still ready to take a team fight. Centaur's ready to go at all times, and Exorcism 20 seconds away.
Yeah. I don't know, I think they're just going to go up top, but they've already gotten 2 full outer tier lanes with the tier 2s falling in bottom and mid. It's just looking so well for XPC. The threat of the black hole coming out from them is even greater than being able to cast it. I think we've seen one, if that, from this Enigma. I can't even remember it being that big of a deal in the team fights. It's mostly on the back of these beautiful initiations coming out from the Centaur and some really well-timed Ravages from Madra there as well. They would have gotten a full team fight had the Brewmaster not gotten off his split. He got it at the very last second as the Ravage was radiating outwards. But yeah, tier 1 tower should be fairly easily taken. The Enigma, he's sitting on the back lines. If they jump in with the Centaur, this could be a huge black hole. Now they're going to get the triple of stomp with the Skywrath Mage ulti. Now the black hole onto 3 with the Yule Scepter up in the air. They're going to be able to focus down these heroes one by one, or will they? They get the Malefice the way of Epaulet, and Epaulet is going to fall. They lose their Enigma on the back lines, and Centaur is going to get doomed up with very little HP. That doom was more or less unnecessary, but Skywrath Mage chasing down this doom, probably not what you want to be doing. I don't know, does he have the damage with the Urn Charge as well as Last Arcane Bolt? I think he's actually going to be able to get this kill, and he will. Mega kill streak for Skanks there, and well, Serpent Ward's going to be farmed up by Relax as well. A very hectic fight, 2 for 4, as well as the tower going down. But with all of the cooldowns wasted by nLions, I think that XPC can go for the next one fairly shortly. Despite using Exorcism, they won't have that for this tier 2 tower push.
Yeah, their pushing power isn't the highest, but it's okay with them because they took a fantastic fight. nLions constantly throwing themselves into this grinder, and the positioning from the Enigma, although very awkward, did manage to get a couple seconds off in the black hole, and that was a black hole with Midnight Pulse on the ground already. So doing quite a bit of damage to nLions. Ultimately, the black hole wasn't fully channeled, I don't believe. Something did come in and cancel that at almost the last second, but it was a long black hole regardless. And XPC, they had a lot of time and flexibility to fight because of how those spells landed. This Centaur's Stomp have been absolutely instrumental. Kaiser has hit 2 people at the very least, like every single time he's stomped, which is pretty freaking insane. And now with the Blink Dagger plus 4 staff, they can't catch the Centaur, let alone kill him. It's going to be really difficult for nLions moving forward. However, kill and relax, that might be a good way to start because they're going to pop the Moonlight Shadow. They know exactly where Relax is, and well, there's Yule Scepter up into the air. I don't really know why you would do that as Death Prophet. Arrow to fly, and all the chain stunning action. Here comes Centaur though, gonna zone out Satan. The swap back, and well, the Death Prophet will get brought down in the end. Ravage is available, but I don't know if XPC actually want to fight this. Skank's gonna get stunned up. He's stuck around for way too long. Ravage now deployed, but it's only gonna catch onto 2. Mystic Flare onto Phantom. He will split out purely defensively, but he will survive nonetheless. Doom now onto Madra as Skanks is tagged with another arrow. Tidehunter on the way out. He's gonna be chased down quite a bit. There's not much more that they could throw at him aside from just general damage. I think the Tidehunter will go down, but he should be denied by his teammates. Chop him down? No, they done goof. They're instead going to try and reinitiate on this one. They have another Crypt Swarm, which will kill off Phantom. Spartan up on the high ground, looking for, or actually waiting for his Malefice to come back up as Relax does pop the Exorcism, trying to body block this Doom. With the Centaur Hoof Stomp coming in once again, they will kill off that hero, ultimately making this a 2 for 2. Very messy, and you do use the Exorcism again, so the high ground, again, not a viable way to go for XPC. Nor is the Roshan, as it's still respawning. But ultimately, 11 to 22, it's going to be relatively even.
Yeah. Death Prophet, she died immediately after she got her Bloodstone, but then again, she got 2 kills afterwards, so the net loss of Bloodstone charges is only 1. So there's still plenty of time for Relax to make up for that fact. So yeah, Bloodstone not completely useless. Also let her get into that fight in order to be involved in those last 2 kills a little bit faster with the 8 charges, and, well, they're going to group up towards top, and Mirana might get caught out here. She has Phase Drums as well as Aquila, but that's not going to save you if the Centaur jumps onto you. Yeah, she's playing defensively enough, or is she? The leap away, it's going to disjoint the Stomp. She's going to try to TP out. Do they have any way to cancel? Where's the Death Prophet with their Yules? She's not close enough.
Yeah, that was really quick fingers from Ingman leaping away. It looked like a Centaur might have landed the stun portion, but even if he did land that stun, I don't know if that would have been enough to kill off the Mirana. Regardless, she is going to escape, and Well, it looks like XPC, they're going to mobilize both on the bottom lane as well as up on top. They see Phantom, and if they land a Mystic Flare, they'll be able to kill him off. There's the Midnight Pulse on the floor, but now epaulet going to bail out the Brewmaster for a little bit. He will get chased down by birds, and with the mech and bottle, he will survive, actually. So these two supports, unfortunately, unable to get any kills going their way. Now the Doom with the movement speed from Scorched Earth, looking to reinitiate. Here comes Ingman from the sides. Gonna get immediately silenced. He already used the arrow, but the right-click damage should be enough. Skanks is very vulnerable. There's the mech, though. Wow, clutch mechs from both sides, actually, but the support is coming. Madra does not have a Ravage, nor is the Exorcism up. So nLions are going to pop the Moonlight Shadow and just look to catch whoever they can get their hands on. Ultimately, that's going to be 0 people. Kaiser still on the top side is going to put some pressure on the top lane, force them back, but nLions, now that their ultimates are up, now it's time to go. Eul Scepter available, though Ingman, if he does get caught, he will leap away, or just leap away beforehand. They're going to keep chasing for this XPC. They really want to get something out of this, but ultimately I don't think it's going to happen. They could go for a high ground push, but they will be going into Brewmaster Split and Doom with Black Hole, the Ravage, and the Exorcism. Kind of a toss-up there.
Yeah, it really is. It depends on how the initiation goes down, and I think they'll just back off and go for Rosh instead. I'm not sure that nLions are actually going to be able to fight around the Roshan pit because of those ultimates. As good as they are when defending and pushing high ground, they're even better when you're in such a clumped up space next to the Rosh pit. So yeah, I think they're just going to take this very easily. They might have to use Exorcism in order to take it fast enough. But then again, nLions aren't in position. Whether they know it or not, it's just going to slowly fall.
Yeah, I don't think nLions are going to risk this. It's way too dangerous in the Roshan pit against an Enigma. Not only the Black Hole, but also the Midnight Pulse, which is going to be doing a lot of damage when you're talking about really tanky heroes like Brewmaster and Doom, who will get chunked down really hard by that level 3 skill. So it will not even be a necessary Exorcism being committed by XPC because they know if the fight does break out, then they're going to pop the Exorcism and then they're going to need it. Otherwise, it's just really slow, really steady, and nLions, they're not even going to want to fight this. So, the Roshan number 2 will go down Aegis towards Relax, probably. It looks like he wants to pick it up. Someone needs to pick it up. I'm sure someone will get around to picking it up eventually. Maybe. There it is.
Yeah, it is going to be the Centaur that picks that up. I thought they'd give that to the Death Prophet. She sells her TP, then Centaur blinks in, gives her his TP, and then picks up the Aegis. A very awkward exchange. But nobody inbound from Northern Lions to steal it up. It's fine. Although, weird. Yeah, top lane, we are going to see a little bit of push coming out from nLions, but they're going to be forced to back. They're going to TP straight down towards mid. Despite not having a lot of pressure there, they can't fight that 3v5.
Well, Ingman's going to be left behind, and he actually doesn't have a TP scroll, though he is invisible. There is no gem or anything like that. A set of sentries on the Skywrath Mage, but they're going to smoke up, so this could be a pretty nice opportunity for Ingman to blow this smoke, but it looks like they're all just going to head on south instead, leaving Relax alone as they're looking for Phantom. There's a Stampede, open it with the Malphus, Stomp a little bit out of range, but Phantom silenced up now. Mystic Flare will not hit, but the Ravage definitely does. Vengeful Spirit trying to swap out the Brewmaster, but unfortunately she's going to put herself right into the Mystic Flare. That's going to be an easy 2 kill. They only use the Ravage and Stampede for that one. Still the Exorcism Black Hole, and then eventually the Mystic Flare will be up. So they're going to very easily take this tier 2 tower up on top with no ultimates committed, and then possibly look for high ground.
Potentially. Without the Ravage, it's going to be a little bit harder, and they also won't have the Centaur ultimate for it, but yeah, I definitely think they can. They're not doing any damage, but there goes the creeps, and now the backdoor projection off. They'll take it very easily. nLions, they have their Brewmaster coming back up, and they will be fighting into him, but they definitely have the tools to stop an initiation coming out from him, especially since he isn't going for a BKB and doesn't have it already. Is going straight for the Axe, with Exorcism popped, and now committing to tier 3 tower with the Surfboards down on the ground, Arrow to Fly not going to land. And, well, no initiation comes out, but they force staff Ingman. Ingman, he's silenced up in the Skywrath Mage ulti. A beautiful ultimate coming out from the Skywrath Mage. They jump into the backlines, but the Doom, he's going to be counter-initiated with the from the Centaur Werner. He's not falling just yet. He's pretty tanky. Eul Sceptered up in the air, and epaulet's going to be the one that they actually focus down. They will get the Shackles on to relax as the Brewmaster ultimate comes out. There's no Ravage up for Madeira, and where's the Black Hole in all of this? Spartan hasn't thrown it out yet, and they will lose their Death Prophet, and there's the Black Hole. Going to catch out 2 years, but cancelled almost instantly coming out from the Brewmaster's Cyclone, and well, they will lose their Morana because of it, as well as the Vengeful Spirit. High ground still defended, however, but not for long, as the tier 3 tower probably going to die. Without the Death Prophet, I'm not sure they're going to be able to stick around for Rax. They might be able to.
Yeah, the Rax is going to be a little bit more difficult. The Vengeful Spirit will come up, I think, by then, and Brewmaster with the Blink Claps and the shocks that they're going to be throwing out, there's going to be a lot of damage as, well, the Doom jumps in, instantly gets demolished, however. He gets 1 level death up, he's still alive, and they do take out the Enigma. He's actually slipping away somehow with that Scorched Earth regeneration. He will actually get out. How the hell did he survive that? I have no idea. So they take out the Enigma. That's going to force everyone from XPC back. The Enigma, unfortunately, in that first fight, was a little bit late on the black hole because he got doomed up. So he had to sit in the background and just wait. And also, the Death Prophet got way too overeager and got separated from the rest of the team. So XPC take a really messy fight that ultimately didn't benefit them. The Aegis, though, is still available on the Centaur. The Exorcism will be up in 20. And I think XPC, even though they're down the Enigma, the Ravage should be cooling down shortly. Yes, 12 seconds on that, 8 seconds till the Stampede is up. They could go right back up to the top lane and go again, but now Relax in a little bit of trouble because they are all moonlit. And now they swap back onto Relax. Doom not available just yet, but he will get stomped up. Shackle now onto the Centaur, but the Ravage is going to connect onto absolutely everyone. There's no True Sight, however. Relax needs to pop his BKB Exorcism right now. In the meantime, Kaser going to chase after Sedan. Will get Ward Trapped, though, and brought down. That's only the Aegis. Still no Exorcism being committed just yet. Centaur should be fine to blink out if he's fast. Yes, he will. Doom is used, and the split is going to come up soon enough, but Ravage is the trade in order to kill off just the Vengeful Spirit, though they still have Exorcism. That's pretty much the only big ultimate that XPC have to work with right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure if XPC can actually force this. Pushing up into the split without your Ravage available, without your Black Hole, is going to be very problematic for them. They also don't have the BKB on the Death Prophet. You had to use it, and it's still on cooldown after the first usage. So, I don't know. Let's see. I think they should probably just back up and farm up their jungle. Maybe farm up the enemy's jungle as well. But they're going to rotate towards top, potentially just stalling out and waiting for something to come back off of cooldown. But they won't be able to find a very solid opportunity. I don't know, this is pretty risky.
Maybe they're going to wait. Oh, no, they're just going to go in for Satan, who's trying to D-ward. There's a Mystic Flare. Will mostly miss, but he will get brought down by a Hoof Stomp regardless. Now Eplet, also caught in the Midnight Pulse, will go down as well. Spartan taking a lot of damage, but he will be fine as Phantom does get silenced. Can they bring down this Brewmaster? No. He does get the split off, but is there any follow-up there? He's trying to go for Spartan in the back end. Relax is going to town on all the buildings. We'll get a Hoof Stomp onto Ingman. Should bring down that Mirana, as they do. It's going to be a trade of the Enigma, but that should be about it. The Broodlings are running out of time as the Stampede does pop. Skank's going to try to man fight up against the Brewmaster, is the only one alive, and he will be quickly brought down. nLions, they get completely wiped. That was no Ravage used, no Black Hole, just Exorcism and good kiting from the XPC side. That's going to be their axes, and that might very well just be game.
Yeah, I know, a very awkward fight. You don't expect to see XPC to actually win that convincingly, but they started out by picking out the supports over at the sidelines and were able to bring the Shadow Shaman as well as the Vengeful Spirit out of the fight to begin with. And, well, XPC, they're sticking around. Still plenty of time before the Brewmaster and Doom are back online, despite having the buyback on the Doom. They're not going to use it without the Brewmaster available, and the next tier 3 tower is going to fall. And they're also going to have their ultimates by the time they do get back up. They drop the Serp Wards as a last-ditch effort to defend against this. Don't deny the tower, and that might force XPC back, but I'm not sure if it will.
Yeah, they're just going to keep going. They have the Ravage up, 40 seconds till Exorcism, but still the Eidolons plus the mech from Enigma sustaining this push in a big way, and Serpent Ward's now going to be eaten up. I don't want to call this too early, but if you could start looking out for the lobby, that would be fantastic, so we can get in that one. But yeah, the Enigma has his Black Hole up. Stampede is up as well. BKB's on everyone. 20 seconds is going to be the timer. That's going to be the timer. That's going to mean that Exorcism is going to be up, and that should be it. With Ravage, yeah, they'll actually have everything they need. nLions, they couldn't defend when XPC had no ultimates. There's no way that they're going to be able to defend when XPC have all their ultimates. It's going to be very risky at the very least, as the Eidolon's going to start working on those melee Raxes. Now the Exorcism is popped. It's going to be hard to kill off this Death Prophet, at least burst her down. They need the Doom on her, but the Exorcism is already active, so it's not really what you want to do. There's the range Rax, there's the melee. They can't even defend. If you're not defending your Raxes at this point, then you might as well just tap out.
Potentially. I'm not sure if they should actually stay in it for much longer. And it looks like we are getting pretty close to jumping to the next game, as there's the Doom to fall down. They haven't used the Ravage or the Black Hole. They're trying to focus down the Scarlet Mage in the backlines, but I don't know, capital A coming out for the Enigma? I have no idea what that means, as they're going to stun up Skanks, and they will bring down the Scarlet Mage, but GG finally called out. As well, Black Hole in the backline secures themselves the kill on the Doom, and now Phantom XP caught out. He silenced up, arrow follow through onto the Tidehunter. Ancient isn't falling, but there we go. We'll be into game 2 incredibly shortly. But yeah, that is going to round out the game 1 of the best of 2 series.
Alright guys, we'll be right back for game number 2. Don't go anywhere. Oh god, that's the wrong button.